My stomach dropped as I read the words on the whiteboard in the busy ER hallway. Next to Ethan Ramirez, age 7. It clearly said discharge pending, 11:15 p.m. But we had been there for 3 hours already, and no doctor had laid a single hand on my boy. My mind raced. How could this happen? It all started earlier that Saturday night on March 28th. I had just picked Ethan up from the park after his skateboard hit a crack and sent him flying into a metal railing. He was in tears, holding his left side, and saying the pain felt like fire twisting inside his belly. By the time we got to County General ER, he had thrown up twice in the car, and his skin felt cold and clammy under my hand. The waiting room smelled like bleach mixed with old vomit, with machines beeping nonstop and other parents staring at their phones. I rushed to the triage desk and told the first nurse I saw, my son fell hard. He hit the railing straight on. I think he might have internal injuries. The pain is only on his left side, and it's getting worse fast. That's when Nurse Lopez came over. She was a short woman with dark hair pulled back tight, and a name tag that read Lopez, RN. She barely glanced at Ethan before grabbing her clipboard. Sir, boys his age fall off skateboards every single day, she said, her voice dripping with annoyance. It's probably just a bad bruise. They get all dramatic about every little bump, you know? But he's vomiting and can barely sit up straight, I said, my voice cracking. This isn't normal. Please, can we get him checked fast? Nurse Lopez let out a long, dramatic sigh and rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd stick. Look, we've got real emergencies piling up tonight. Car wrecks, chest pains, the works. Your son will be okay with some ice and rest at home. Parents like you watch too many doctor shows and think everything is a crisis. I felt a knot form in my stomach, but I didn't argue. We waited. Ethan kept whimpering every few minutes, his small hands gripping my shirt tighter each time. The plastic chair stuck to my back from sweat, even though the room was freezing. The clock ticked past 9 p.m., then 10 p.m. Every time I asked for an update, Lopez brushed me off with the same line. The doctor is backed up. Stop hovering. We're handling it. At 10:30, she came by our little curtained area and said, good news. The doctor reviewed your son's chart based on what I entered. He's cleared for discharge. I'll print the papers now. My heart skipped. Reviewed? No one has been in here to examine him. She waved her hand like I was being ridiculous. The system has the notes. It's standard. Take him home. Give him children's ibuprofen. And call his pediatrician in the morning if he's still sore. That did it. I couldn't sit anymore. My legs felt weak as I stood up. I left Ethan for a second and walked to the nurse station. There was on the big whiteboard in blue marker, Ethan Ramirez, discharge pending. No exam noted. No vital signs updated since intake. Sweat poured down my face as I stormed back to her. Why does the board say discharge? We haven't seen a doctor once. Nurse Lopez finally looked up, her face twisted in irritation. Sir, are you accusing me of something? I entered the information correctly. The doctor saw the intake and approved it remotely. You probably missed it in all your worrying. My hand started shaking uncontrollably. My heart pounded like it would burst out of my chest. I could taste the fear in my dry mouth. Ethan was now lying on the gurney, pale and barely responding, his breathing fast and shallow. What if she was wrong? What if my boy was dying right in front of me because of her laziness? I couldn't breathe. The room spun a little. In this city, one nurse's bad mood can decide if your kid lives or dies. I bolted into the main hallway and grabbed the first doctor I saw rushing by. Dr. Patel? Please, my son in Bay 3. The nurse says he's discharged, but no one examined him, and he's getting worse. Dr. Patel, a young woman with a stethoscope around her neck, stopped dead. Discharged? I haven't approved any pediatric discharges tonight. She followed me back immediately. One look at Ethan, and she pressed gently on his left abdomen. Ethan screamed so loud it made heads turn down the hall. Get him to CT now. This could be a spleen rupture. The scan confirmed it. Grade 3 laceration with internal bleeding. Dr. Patel pulled me aside while they prepped surgery. If we had followed that discharge order, your son would have gone into shock within the hour. He could have died from blood loss. I glanced back at Nurse Lopez, who was suddenly very quiet at her desk, pretending to type. Remove her from my son's care immediately, I said firmly. Dr. Patel agreed and called the supervisor. While Ethan was in surgery, I sat in the waiting room, replaying every word. People always say trust the experts, but sometimes the experts are the ones putting your child at risk. The supervisor visited us the next morning after the successful operation. Ethan was awake and smiling weakly. Mr. Ramirez, I want to apologize personally. Nurse Lopez has been documented for similar shortcuts before, rushing discharges to hit quotas. Your complaint is going straight to the state board. I nodded, staying calm. No yelling, just the facts in writing. By the time we left the hospital 2 days later on April 1st, the director followed up. Nurse Lopez has been placed on indefinite suspension. She's no longer allowed to work with pediatric patients here, and the investigation is ongoing. As I pushed Ethan's wheelchair out into the sunny parking lot, I felt a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. That nurse would never get to ignore another desperate parent's plea again.